Hello there guys, welcome to one of my videos. Manchester United are away to Leicester in the FA Cup quarter finals. The tie will take place over the weekend of the 20th and 21st of March. Obviously, in the fifth round, we beat West Ham 1-0. And Leicester beat Brighton 1-0. This will be a very, very good game. We drew 2-2 with Leicester in the league earlier on in the season at the King Power Stadium. We did the double over them last season, beating them 1-0 at Old Trafford and beating them 2-0 at the King Power Stadium. That was the final game of last season. But Leicester, are a good team. They've got a very, very good manager in Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers has been Leicester manager now for like 2 years. He's got a contract with Leicester until 2025. He's managed quite a few clubs, Brendan Rodgers, in his managerial career. Before he was at Leicester, he was at Celtic. He endured a few years with them. At one point, he was at Liverpool. I think he had one good season with Liverpool. Before, he was at Swansea. He's managed Reading and Watford before. Leicester were also very, very consistent under Claudio Ranieri. They did win the Premier League title under Claudio Ranieri. They've got some very, very good players in their team. Obviously, one of their key players is Jamie Vardy. They've obviously got that Iheanacho. He's one of their key players. James Maddison, he's a very, very good player. They've also got that Wilfred Ndidi. They've got Dennis Pryor. They've got Yuri Tillemans. I think he's made a fantastic impact at Leicester. They've got James Justin. They've also got Perez. They've got that Harvey Barnes, who's one of their key players. They've got Marco Brighton. They've got Fuchs. They've got Fofana. They've got Timothy Castagne, if I've pronounced his name correctly. And Brendan Rodgers has made quite a few signings since he became Leicester manager. Don't forget, Leicester have lost quite a few good players in recent years. They did lose Harry Maguire to us in the summer of 2019. They lost Ben Chilwell last year to Chelsea. They lost Riyad Mahrez back in 2018. They also lost Danny Drinkwater. They lost N'Golo Kante. So that is the news on that. But I hope that Manchester United can win the FA Cup. We are the second most successful team in FA Cup history. We have won 12. We obviously got to the semi-finals last season. Obviously lost to Chelsea 3-1. The last time we won the FA Cup was back in 2016 under the Louis van Gaal era. But anyway, now I want to delve into some news on Paul Pogba. So I'm going to read this out to you now. So according to Fabrizio Romano, who is a very reliable Italian journalist and is very close to Manchester United, he says that Mino Raiola has once again discussed his client's future. So this is what Mino Raiola has said. Paul Pogba to Juventus. I can't speak about Paul Pogba because people are nervous. They don't sleep at night. I have to work quietly. If I speak, someone gets offended. And it does say here that Raiola was present at a Serie A meeting on Thursday afternoon, and as he left was quizzed on a potential return to Italy for his client. So there, and don't forget Mino Raiola made an announcement back in December saying that his client's career at Man United is over. He said he's unhappy and he has to leave and he's got no intentions of signing a new contract. Solskjaer was furious with Mino Raiola's announcement because it was just before the game against RB Leipzig in the Champions League. Juventus are keen on re-signing Paul Pogba in the summer. Don't forget Paul Pogba did endure 4 exceptional years with Juventus. And it did mention that Juventus offered us 4 players in exchange for Paul Pogba. He hasn't only been linked with a return to Juventus, though. He's been relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid. And he's also been linked with a move to PSG in recent weeks. So they are the 3 clubs that do want him, like I mentioned this morning. So he has had a long-running transfer saga. Now, we recently held talks with Paul Pogba over his future, and Solskjaer insists that Paul Pogba's happy at Man United, and Solskjaer recently suggested that Paul Pogba could sign a new contract. Now, I think last month it said that Paul Pogba was considering making a U-turn at the club, and he contradicted his agent Mino Raiola for the second time. But yeah, I think Paul Pogba's future is on hold until the end of the season. Earlier on this season, we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract, so he's under contract with Man United until June 2022. As it stands at the moment, he is our most expensive signing because we paid £89 million for him. And this is his 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. Now, Matthias Pogba, Paul Pogba's brother, he recently gave us an update on Paul Pogba's future. And he said that we must sell Paul Pogba during the summer if we are to get the money. Or he said he could leave for nothing next year. And he did mention that he's got no intentions of signing a new contract. Paul Pogba has now got a thigh injury. Solskjaer confirmed he's going to be out for a few weeks. The vast majority of Paul Pogba's performances, though, have been very, very good since he came back from that ankle injury that he did have earlier on in the season. He was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. And he did get voted Player of the Month for January with his good performances, and he scored a fantastic goal in the 2-1 win against Fulham. So, what's your thoughts on this news regarding Paul Pogba? But there is a chance he will stay at Manchester United potentially past the summer. Now, this year's summer transfer window is very, very important for Man United because, like I've said, we do need to make signings in the summer transfer window. And I think a new centre-back is one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's priorities. He says we are prepared to smash our transfer record in the summer. And Woodward is set to hand Solskjaer a huge war chest to sign top players in all areas. Solskjaer did recently say that our transfer plans could be affected by the coronavirus pandemic, But despite the pandemic, I'm still expecting us to make some signings in the summer. And the board must back Solskjaer in the summer, because I think the transfer windows Solskjaer's endured so far, he has not been backed enough by the board. Don't get me wrong, he has made good signings at the club, but obviously Solskjaer hasn't got all the players that he wanted to recommend in. You know, Solskjaer's endured 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager, and it was a very, very disappointing January transfer window for us. We only saw one arrival, and that was Amad Diallo Traore. And it won't be too long now until we see him in the first team squad, because he's already made 2 appearances for the under-23s. Solskjaer did say a few times during the January transfer window that he wasn't expecting any signings. But obviously we saw more fringe players leaving January. To Solskjaer's credit, he has got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended in. Now, you already know the news on Jadon Sancho. You know the news on Sergio Ramos, so you know the players that are on our agenda. I presume that Declan Rice still remains on our agenda. But I think the 3 areas we need to strengthen up, I think we need a striker, we need a world-class midfielder, and we also need a centre-half. But I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does deserve a hell of a lot of credit. He's making very, very good progress at Man United. He's been making very, very good progress, in the last year or so. He's improved players as well. You know, in some games he's been getting the best out of the team. In recent months as well, performances have been improving. We've got a fantastic away record. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. We've won a few games now at Old Trafford this season, but we've been far better away from home than we have been at home. All our defeats have come at Old Trafford this season. And we was unbeaten in 13 Premier League games in a row until Sheffield United had beaten us. We've enjoyed very good periods under Solskjaer. You know, there was a good period last season when we was 19 games unbeaten in all competitions. I think we was 14 unbeaten in the Premier League. But we do deserve a lot of credit for sticking with Solskjaer, because he could have easily have been sacked as Manchester United manager, because like I've said before, we have endured very, very bad periods under him. This is his 2nd full season right now. I think he's going to be given at least another season at the football club. He's been Man United manager for over 2 years. You know, reflecting how long he's been at the football club, he has gained some managerial experience. Man United is the 3rd club in his managerial career. You know, before he came to us, he was at Molde, won a few Norwegian titles at Molde, and before he was at Molde, he was at Cardiff, and he endured a very, very short tenure at Cardiff. He got sacked from Cardiff because he ended up getting Cardiff relegated. Solskjaer knows how imperative it is to get his first trophy on the board as Man United manager, because we haven't won a trophy for like 4 years now, is it? And a club of our stature need to be winning trophies. But like I said, the FA Cup is a chance of a trophy, and the Europa League is a chance of a trophy. A lot of Man United fans have now disregarded the title. Obviously, Solskjaer made an admission after our 3-3 draw with Everton. And he says we shouldn't be considered as title chasers. Didn't mention the title race up until that admission. You know, he was basically just taking one game at a time. I think we could win the Premier League maybe next season, maybe next couple of seasons. We haven't won it since 2013. It looks very, very imminent now. Man City are going to win it because they're 5 points clear of us, and plus they have got a game in hand. If we'd have beaten Everton and if we'd have beaten Sheffield, then I would have turned around and said, we are still in this title race. But, Solskjaer, he's got us to the FA Cup quarter-finals, which is good. Obviously, he wants us to go all the way. He wants to get to his first final as Man United manager. Got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season. Unfortunately, lost to Man City 2-0. Solskjaer, did well last season in his first full season at the club. We appointed Solskjaer in December 2018 to replace Mourinho. Obviously, in his first 3 months, Solskjaer was the interim manager. Won 14 games out of 19 in all competitions, so he did well. So we decided to give him the job permanently in March 2019. Man United will wait until the end of the season to begin contract talks with Solskjaer, like I've said recently. It says we could offer him a 2-year deal on one condition, that's if we qualify for the Champions League and we keep pushing for the title. Solskjaer did sign a 3-year contract back in March 2019. He's got, 16 months left on his current contract. Like I've said to Solskjaer has got a decision to make on David De Gea. Obviously, David De Gea got criticised, reflecting on the bad mistakes he made in the 3-3 draw with Everton. He cost us that game, but David De Gea has made a few mistakes now in the last couple of years. But quite a few years ago, he was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world. But I've got to say now, he is a liability. He's going to remain our number one for at least this season. This is David De Gea's 10th season at Manchester United, so he has been a long servant. And Solskjaer recently warned David De Gea that his place is not secure in the Man United team, but he said no one's place is safe at Man United. They've got to earn their place. There's a lot of Man United fans that are saying Dean Henderson should play our next 2 to 3 games. I think Dean Henderson is reliable enough now to become our number one goalkeeper. Dean Henderson has got that experience behind him. He did enjoy 2 successful loans at Sheffield United. And we've also extended a lot of players' contracts under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. I think in the summer, more players will leave Man United. It said a few weeks ago, we're willing to let 8 players go to complete our squad overhaul. And 4 of those players are actually out on loan. But like I've said, Paul Pogba, he could leave in the summer. Juan Mata, I think there's a good chance he'll leave in the summer because I think Juan Mata's current contract expires in June. There's an option to trigger his contracts for a further year. Earlier on this season, Juan Mata rejected an 18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. Mata has been at the club now over 6 years. I think he's had a good career at Man United. We got him in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. And Matic, could he leave in the summer? Because he's not one of our first choice midfielders, despite him still getting chances. I've got my reservations about Matic. He's always been a slow player and he's had poor games, but he's had some good games as well for Man United. Matic has been at the club over 3 years now. We got Matic in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. Phil Jones, I'm expecting him to leave this year. Phil Jones has been out with injury for 12 months, but he's going to be given a second chance. This is Phil Jones' 10th season at Man United. He has been a long-serving player. You know, he's been with us since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. But like I've said, Tino, these players that are really improving at Man United. You know, you've got Luke Shaw, that's really improving. You know, he's showing good attacking intent. He's getting into good positions. He's putting good crosses into the box. He's creating chances for his teammates, and defensively, he's been superb. Luke Shaw's had a good career at Man United apart from his injuries. And he does remain our first choice left back despite the arrival of Alex Telles last summer. You know, Eric Bailly's done well in the games he's played in. And I certainly prefer Eric Bailly to Victor Lindelof, but my element of concern about Eric Bailly, he's far too injury prone. He's obviously out with injury at the moment, but he could be available for the game against West Brom on Sunday. Harry Maguire, I think he's improved as well, but still certainly wasn't worth the 80 million. He still certainly wasn't worth the 80 million pounds that we got him for. And Wan-Bissaka, you know, I think aspects of his game are improving. There's been games where he's got forward quite well and he's put good crosses into the box. Defensively, Wan-Bissaka's always been superb anyway. I've got to say, you know, that Fred is really improving. He's passing the ball better. He's looking very mobile. He's keeping the ball well as well. He's passing the ball well. He breaks up the play well. Fred needs to read his game better. That's what he needs to work on. But Fred's been at the club now for a few years. You know, like I said, you know, Marcus Rashford, aspects of his game have improved, but he's still enduring some bad games. But when Rashford plays well, he gets good runs in behind, he keeps the ball well, he can create chances, he can also score goals. We just need to keep Marcus Rashford out wide because that's where he's more effective. He's better on the left than he is on the right, but I don't think Rashford's as good centrally as he is out wide. Rashford has been part of the club for several years. You know, Edison Cavani, he's made a fantastic impact since he's come in. By the way, I think he's been given a 2-game international ban. Earlier on this season, Edison Cavani got a 3-match ban for us for the racist comment that he put on social media. Was it back in December? Obviously, Solskjaer confirmed that he had apologised for that. We got Edison Cavani on a free transfer last summer on deadline day. You know, he signed a 1-year contract with Man United with an option of a 2nd year, and I kind of sure he's going to see out his contract at the club. I just like the way Edison Cavani holds up the ball. His movement in and out of the box is good. He can create chances and he can also score goals. And I think he's ahead of Anthony Martial now. I really do. Like I said to you yesterday, does Anthony Martial have a long-term future at Man United? You know, will we sell him this summer? Will we sell him the season after? Will we sell him in the next few seasons? Because Anthony Martial has been out of form for the vast majority of this season. Obviously, he's had chances, but he just hasn't converted them. Don't forget, Solskjaer was the one that gave Anthony Martial that number 9 shirt. Most of the time, he does play centrally, Martial, but he can put him out wide. Last season, he was good, and he was good in his debut season under the Louis van Gaal era. Martial's been at the club now over 5 years. Mason Greenwood, I think he's done very well recently, despite scoring. I think, you know, he's made some very good runs down that right-hand flank. I think he's put good crosses into the box. And he can create chances. You know, Solskjaer's been defending Mason Greenwood a lot this season. Like I said, didn't have much of a perception on him early on this season because he was obviously in and out of the squad. The start of this season we give Mason Greenwood that number 11 shirt. I think Donny van de Beek is a good player. That's when he plays. You know, most of Donny van de Beek's appearances come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league for us, and that was West Ham and Southampton. You know, Solskjaer, after the game against West Ham in the 5th round of the Cup, said that he disagrees with the criticism of Donny van de Beek. And he praised his performance against West Ham. He did start against West Ham in the Cup. I thought he struggled. You know, he did make some good runs and he had some nice touches, but couldn't really find pockets of space. And Mark Hughes came out and said that the players don't trust Donny van de Beek. But we got him in a deal worth £40 million, don't forget. And he's got a contract on Man United till 2025. And he can play in like 3 different roles. You can put him as a box-to-box midfielder, which was his predominant position at Ajax. You can put him as a number 10. You can put him out wide. ESPN said during the January transfer window that we rejected several loan offers for Donny van de Beek. We was reluctant to let him go. You know, Bruno Fernandes, he's an exceptional player and he has certainly made the difference in the team. You know, Bruno Fernandes denies that he needs a rest because he obviously wants to help the club win trophies. We have certainly overplayed him. He didn't start against West Ham, but obviously he did come on in the game. Bruno Fernandes is planning on spending many years at Man United after his 12-month anniversary. Won Player of the Month now quite a few times, reflecting on his good performances. Predominantly number 10. But in most of his games at Man United, he has been very, very consistent. There's only been a few games where he has looked off the pace. And Scott McTominay, there's also been games where he's really, really impressed me. You know, he did very, very well against West Ham recently in the Cup. Obviously scored the goal in extra time. It was a very, very good volley from McTominay. You know, he did well in the 6-2 win against Leeds. That was certainly his best game in a Man United shirt. He did well in the 1-0 win against Watford in the 3rd round of the FA Cup. He did well in the 9-0 win against Southampton. So he does deserve credit. McTominay has been part of the club for several years. So there you go. And we do play West Brom on Sunday at the Hawthorns. I've already given you my preview for the game. I've just recently given you my starting 11 prediction. I'm expecting Manchester United to win this game comfortably because we're second in the Premier League and plus we've got a very, very good away record and West Brom are a poor team. I think West Brom could go down this season. Obviously they got beat 5-0 against Man City at the Hawthorns this season and they also lost to Leeds 5-0. Obviously West Brom's current manager is Sam Allardyce. West Brom appointed him in earlier on this season to replace Slaven Bilic because West Brom did sack Slaven Bilic. We did beat West Brom at Old Trafford earlier on this season 1-0. That was a very, very poor game though. That did lack quality. It was a controversial penalty decision that obviously decided the game. We haven't travelled to the Hawthorns since 2017 We've won our last 2 trips to the Hawthorns. We had that very, very good game against West Brom back in 2013 at the Hawthorns. Obviously, it was 5-5, and that was Sir Alex Ferguson's last game in charge. But yeah, like I said, Solskjaer's got decisions to make for this game. You know, who's going to put in at De Gea or Dean Henderson? I think he's going to put David De Gea back in goal for this one. I want it to be Henderson, but I think it is going to be De Gea in all honesty. You know, how's Solskjaer going to set up the midfield? Is he going to start Bay if he's fit? I think Lindelof will start alongside Maguire. Will Rashford play, or will he be given a rest? We'll have to see. But we do know that Paul Pogba is definitely not going to be involved. So, yeah. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching. And there will be more videos coming up tomorrow.